Arcade1up versus ThinkUp Incorporated lawsuit and the 10K subscriber giveaway. That's tonight on This Week. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened this week in home arcades. Episode 149 is upon us. One more week, and then it's episode 150. I don't know if we're going to do anything special or not, but tonight is a very special night. We got some guests. We're going to talk about some drama, some courtroom drama. Matlock, eat your heart out. The kids don't even know who the hell that is. We're also going to celebrate the 10K giveaway. Going to give away some stuff tonight. It's just a way for me to say thank you for all of you hitting that subscribe button and hitting the thumbs up and commenting and all that good stuff. And it really, really helps the channel. It really helps me continue to do this thing that I'm doing. So what are we talking about tonight? A bunch of stuff. But first thing off the bat, the first priority is what I'm drinking. Tonight we are sipping on some Jefferson's bourbon. It's a fresh bottle. It's a brand new bottle. We're going to try to put a dent in it tonight. I've got one glass over here. That could turn into two. Who the hell knows? Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about. So much so, and so much interactiveness that there is no poll question this week. And we're going to skip some of the introductions, some of the usual stuff, and go right into the top 10. The first 10 people alive enough at 11 a.m. in the morning to comment. Let me scroll all the way up here. Let's go in. There we go. Number one, coming in the number one spot is going to be JJ. Hope to be able to watch the stream tonight from Nebraska. I was just in Nebraska. It's funny. Looks like it's going to be a fun one. Absolutely. Well, it's going to be fun for us because we're not involved in the lawsuit. Thank you so much for being here. Number two is Dan Z. What's going on, buddy? Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Fox. The second here. Exactly. You are the second. Congratulations. Number two in this situation is actually a good thing. Coming in number three is Angelo P. What's going on, buddy? Evening, Fox and chat. Lawsuit. This should be interesting. I have my drink ready and a steak from the grill. Let's do this. God bless America. Coming in number four. Coming in clutch is Mr. Clutch. Congrats on the big red. Also, Cyrus sits to pee. Unconfirmed, but we'll look into that. Absolutely. Maybe we'll find that tonight. Find out tonight in the lawsuit. Coming in at number five is Game Broker 84. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Happy Sunday, Fox. A big red cap was an awesome pickup. Thank you so much. It absolutely was. Out of all the leaks, which one do you think would have been the most plausible? Which one would have been the easiest to make happen? Pretty good question. Not exactly sure. I don't even think that the cabinets that we saw were the actual structures that they were, like the third generation cabinets, those variants. I don't think that's the way it would have looked. I think it would have been something a little bit more elaborate, but maybe maybe the Pong, that development of that cabinet, like that was pretty far along. And it's come on, it's Pong. It's Pong. It's pretty easy. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Number six is Bob. How the hell are you, buddy? Good to see you. Hootie hoo. That's high praise. Coming in at number seven is the craziest of old Maurices. This guy right here. I'll be back to watch tonight. All healed up mostly. Hey, what happened to Intech Gaming? It's like they just disappeared. Maybe they saw the writing on the wall because, yeah, they were definitely headed full steam with some awesome accessories for Arcade1up, a company that may be on the ropes. Coming in at number eight is Arcade Dave. What's going on, buddy? What's up, Fox? Awesome pickup on the big red. I complain when I have to drive 2 hours to pick up a cabinet, and you were like, hold my beer. Or bourbon in this case. Thank you so much for being here. 11 hours is no slouch. Coming in at number 9, my brother, Gotham City Arcade. How the hell are you, buddy? Wow. Lawsuit? Exactly. It's intriguing, right? And coming in at the number 10 spot is, of course, Wrights Retro Cade. Congrats on 10,000 subs for old time's sake, Bourbon Cade. Absolutely. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. You know what is even a better thing than that? A $5 super chat. This one's from Kevin Clausen coming in the 11th spot. It's okay. You were so close. It's so far away. But what isn't a bummer is this super chat. Fox, I did some math and I can't retire now, but since we are buddies, you got my back, right? I'm short 10K. 10K, no problem. I got you covered. Let me just look right here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, here it is. Here you go.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Good luck collecting that check from the pit. But I'll take this $2 check from you. Another super chat, this super chat, and it's working in tandem with the comment. He was replying to cons. There's like 3 levels of depth here, Kevin, but I'm going to read them. I'm going to go all in. He's responding to Constorm, saying, hey, Constorm, you know what else is dropping? This super chat. That's right. Thank you so much again for a second super chat. We're going to give you what you want. We're going to give you what you need, and here you go. Okay, guys, enough about me and my super chats and whatnot. Let's say hello to my special guest, my beautiful, lovely special guest, starting off with Michael B., the Game Genie. How the hell are you? And of course, the guy who claims I hate everything, but I think he's got a heart of gold, and it's James. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Good, good, good. Mike, are you all right, buddy?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Well, we need to make that frown turn upside down. Come on.
Okay.
You have a good weekend, man?
Oh, I had an amazing weekend. It's a long weekend here in Canada, Canada Day weekend. I didn't do any of my regular job. I didn't do any YouTube stuff. I just hung out with the kids, played a bunch of video games. I'm in a good place right now, man.
That is incredible. That's why you have like this aura of just like zen about you. It's awesome.
Yes.
I kind of had the same thing. I worked on the one cabinet, and that's about it. It rained, so I got out and mowing the yard, which is lovely.
You mow your yard? I like to leave my yard just going because my neighbors across the road, they have like the most pristine lawn. Like they do so much lawn care. And I'm like, hey, look at all my weeds. You're gonna have them soon.
Do you do it and then they just get so pissed off? Do they mow your yard for you, or does that never happen?
No, I do have a guy down the road that comes up and he snow blows my driveway sometimes because me and my wife, we work from home. So it's not like we're rushing out to snow blow the driveway, and he'll come up and he just gets frustrated and does it for us.
You ain't got that kind of time. What the hell? No. Well, James, I know you say you hate everything, but is there something you just going to put a smile on your face tonight? Do we have something fun to talk about?
Oh, I think so. I think this whole case thing is pretty interesting, pretty enlightening.
Again, James, I'm not sure. Like, you got to rebrand or something because I'm pretty sure you don't hate anything. This whole channel's a lie.
You can't have a smile on your face and claim to hate everything.
Yeah,
James hates not being positive, maybe.
Yeah. If you read my descriptions, my friends like to say I'm super negative because I'm critical about the things I actually care about. So
well, we all are.
Doesn't come through, right?
It's not critical. It's passionate.
Right.
Exactly.
I was going to say, so you're like everyone on the internet.
I'm one of those horrible Star Wars fans that wants it to be good, right?
You know the best way to make Star Wars good? Just watch the first 3 movies.
Exactly, 100%.
and nothing else. Just watch those over and over again. So, Mike, do you know anything about this lawsuit?
Nope, I intentionally am going into this with no knowledge. So explain it to me like I'm 5.
James, lay it on us.
Oh man, there is a lot to go through, but essentially here,
you can
right?
Just set it up. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially ThinkUp, right, is the company that Arcade.
Whoa! I thought we were talking about a different lawsuit. I'm out of here, guys.
Oh, not.
I thought this was a different Arcade1up lawsuit. I was ready to get into it.
Damn it, not again.
Oh, go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so essentially, right, Tastemakers hires ThinkUp. We all know that, and ThinkUp in this lawsuit basically says they designed every single product that Arcade1up releases, that they're responsible for all of it, including a lot of the development from the splash screens to the UIs to all that kind of stuff. They don't claim to develop the games, but they do all the construction, design work, everything. And they were summarily fired by Arcade1up, and so they're alleging breach of contract, tortious interference, for enrichment. They have several claims that'll be real interesting to get into, and it definitely gives an inside look as to what is going on currently over at Arcade1up, I think.
That's some of the interesting stuff when you dig into this, and the filing I sent to you, Mike, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in the description of this video after. When you watch it back, you can click on it and check it out. Now, it's not the paid version, so I can see all the exhibits, but you get basically the filing. What's being asserted in the filing by everybody, and there's a description of everybody involved, and it's very interesting. There's a lot of like drama behind the scenes and all that good stuff. We can kind of set the stage with the first slide because I got them. And I know P-Dubs would hate this because it's not zoomed in. I promise the other ones are going to be zoomed in much more. But basically, get the readers out.
You got to get them bifocals going.
You don't have to worry about, we're not going to read this whole thing, but basically this is just the beginning, right? And up in the left-hand corner, you have the filing number and the address and all this stuff. There you go. There you go, Mike. We're going to skip past this in just a minute, but it's important to note that this is not just ThinkUp versus Arcade1up. This is ThinkUp versus Arcade1up and this other company called Disruptive. Great name, right? And they're a Nevada corporation with principal place of business located in New York. So there's this other shadowy organization from Nevada. What else is in Nevada? Las Vegas and mobsters, gangsters, and it's all connected. I know it.
So a long
And
time
aliens.
ago, John D went to the fighting game championships, and he got a couple guys from like YouTube to go with him. I think it was like Your Average Gamer, B Kong, OTG. I don't know who. I think Moat went as well. So they went to the strip club because apparently this like high-end strip club in Vegas is one of the business partners of Arcade1up, or was. So I'm assuming this Disruptive is this strip club. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. I think it makes perfect sense. So that's kind of where it starts. And so to set the stage, I guess, James, there was something else that I think ThinkUp was asserting. There was another lawsuit that didn't happen. And now we've got this. What was the first one that they were trying to do?
Yeah, so originally, I think the time frame was early January. They filed an objection to the trademarks that Arcade1up had, specifically around the Infinity game table, alleging that they own the trademarks and it is their IP.
That's so stupid. Just give me. I'm sorry for cutting you off, James, but like honestly, if anybody wants to own the copyright for the Infinity game table, it's the original makers on Alibaba. So I mean, like, and let's not kid
They should
ourselves.
be really pissed.
The Infinity game table was already a product. It's no different than that Racer Act games were going to come out. A company already made the Infinity game table, selling it on AliExpress. And Arcade1up basically just took that and reformatted it to make it the Infinity game table. So for ThinkUp to say, well, that's our intellectual property, call them bullshit on that.
And I think that's exactly what happened, because that fell apart pretty damn quick, didn't it? That fell apart in, that was March? I think February when they...
Yeah, in February, Arcade1up filed for an extension of 30 days to respond because they hired new legal. And then in March... is when ThinkUp voluntarily retracted, dismissed their complaint. So it was dismissed without prejudice, which means they can refile in the future. But, now we know why they dismissed it, right? Because less than a month later, this lawsuit was filed.
They come out with this. Exactly. And before we get into that too much, I want to go ahead and do the first giveaway tonight. So basically how this is going to work, I'm going to throw a hashtag up on the screen, and everybody in the chat right now, you just put the hashtag in the chat and you'll be automatically entered to win an item from my store.
No. Can I tell them what the prize actually is?
Oh,
that's
actually,
not the real
go ahead.
prize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I wasn't going to tell them, but go ahead. Fine.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, it's not an item from a store. The first prize is actually a dinner for two, romantic dinner for two with 19K Fox at Chili's 2. Even though it's not the original, it's still Chili's.
That was a grand prize, Mike. I'm working up to that.
Damn
it, man. Here we go again. Okay, everybody get ready. Get your keyboards ready. And the hashtag is this. Hashtag NeoGeo. Imagine that. Go ahead and type hashtag NeoGeo in the chat, and then you will be automatically entered for a chance to win anything from my store, any single item from my store. And the way this is going to work, you're going to put this in. I'm going to draw a winner. Whenever we have the winner, all you have to do is email me at 19kfox1@gmail.com. Give me your address. Give me the item that you want me to send to you, and I'll send it. It's just that easy. So we'll go ahead and let this run for a couple minutes, and I'll pick a winner in just a second. So yeah, hashtag NeoGeo. Okay, so where were we? Moving on. So they dropped this original lawsuit that was probably going to wasn't going to go anywhere anyway, and they have a new lawsuit. And this is a little bit more egregious, I think. I mean, what do you think, James?
I think it's definitely interesting. They make a lot of claims and certainly provide a lot of info. So definitely questionable behavior by all participants. I will say I can say that much.
So the first one in America, we start with number 1, right? And then 2 and 3 and 4. So you can tell as you follow along, I've skipped a few things here. So we're going to start with number 6. I'm going to cut some of these things out. I'm not going to go over every single line item in this because I think there's a lot of like history and storytelling. We need to go through all that. But I'm going to start with number 6 to kind of set the stage this is kind of interesting. So, the sixth item in this whole multi-page document was in the early '90s. ThinkUp began working with Scott Bacharach, Mr. Bacharach, and that's what he's going to be called for the rest of this filing, on a number of projects involving the development and sale of toys and games. In each case, the parties worked purely on a handshake agreement, with ThinkUp being. Now, Mike, what do you call that? A handshake agreement.
In Canada, we don't have that. It's a little bit more solid. We work on a hand job agreement. So
that's even better.
Nice.
And then
a handshake agreement. I mean, that's a tough one. Where this gets in, well, I don't know about American law, but like with Canadian contract law and stuff like that, where there's a continuing relationship, that's what, like, a regular handshake agreement doesn't mean shit. But where there's a continued relationship over years of meeting this criteria, there's, I forget what it's called, but it's like, I can't remember the term right now, but there's a precedent there that they should receive this upon each release.
Right. I call it stupid.
Yeah.
Handshake equals stupid. I mean, initially, I guess it was the '90s. Is only going to last for so long, and it kind of, before we even move into anything else, it kind of sets the stage, right? You were doing this in the '90s. Okay, well, we're pretty far removed from the '90s. At some point, somebody should have wrote something down. So I think there's blame that's going to go both ways. But going back to this, it says handshake agreement with ThinkUp being responsible for the development of the concept, design, and artwork for the project, and Mr. Bacharach, through his various companies, provided the manufacturing, the marketing, and the distribution of the products that ThinkUp was making. In each case, the parties agreed that ThinkUp would receive 3% of the sales revenue of the life of the product, which is kind of hard to prove if you didn't write it down.
The life of the product.
The life of the product.
This is where this gets a little bit funky too, because you're dealing with a variety of products. We're dealing with Hatchimals. You're dealing with Arcade1up. So there could be an argument to be made that, again, the precedent is probably what will be key in this case. Like, to show that they had precedent, they were receiving 3% of the sales revenue of Arcade1up since its inception. I mean, that's could be pretty legally binding.
We're going to draw this real quick, guys. I got 55 entries. Thanks to you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for putting this in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and draw this right now. And the winner is, this is number one. We're going to do several of these, guys. So if you don't win, it's no big deal. You're going to get another chance later on tonight. It is
Ashley.
Nice.
Ashley.
Go. Ashley.
Yeah.
She wins again. She always wins. Decadent Dave, thank you so much for being here. Always in the chat. Always being a part of the show. And once again, email me at 19kfox1@gmail.com, and then tell me what you want from my store, one item from the store, and I'll send it to you.
Can I ask you a question? Like, this
Yes,
is
sir.
a pretty personal question. Why is it 19K Fox 1? You're telling me that there's that many other 19K Foxes out there that
I'm
had
telling
to
you
put
that
one
some bastard somewhere
Yeah.
did 19kfox@gmail.com. I don't know.
Well,
who
this
that
is like the Arcade1up app. Remember when it first opened up? People were trying to steal our
Yes!
names on the app.
Somebody took my name.
Yeah.
What a bunch of jerks. Who did that? Some jerk, and took my thumbnail too. Like, my whole identity was stolen. It was
Weird.
horrible.
Yeah.
And Arcade1up did nothing.
Congrats, Decadent Dave. But unfortunately, Decadent Dave, there was no written contract about the contest.
Well, this was
you
a
can't
handshake.
win. Yeah, this was a handshake agreement.
There's that. Sorry about that. What can you do? What can you do? So moving on, a little on down the list, number 8, it says, while in ThinkUp's New Jersey office, Mr. Cummins showed Scott Bacharach a foam core mock-up of the original idea for what would eventually become Arcade1up's line of 3/4 scale retro digital arcade game, the 3/4 scale cabinets. And it was, I would love to find that foam core mock-up. What the hell did that thing look like? But evidently it was so good that Scott was like, yeah, let's do it. Right. Here we go. And the two shook hands as if that was binding, and agreed to let's just work together, pal. And then later on, I was thinking item number 11, ThinkUp named the product. And this is actually true, right? I mean, I've heard this before also, but ThinkUp freaking named the company. I mean, they're the sole creative force, at least by, the way they're going to tell it. They are the sole creative force behind everything. They named everything. They made everything. They did the artwork for everything. They did the packaging for everything. It's just insane. that Arcade1up basically had very little, I don't know, input on the design, and they were really primarily just, hey, I got this idea, you make it, and we'll just sell it. I mean, it kind of was that simple, handshake agreement and all.
There's some stuff missing here.
No,
from
it's
the
just that
history-
simple, right?
From the history of what happened here. So, anyways, the original concept came from Namco and Walmart. They were the ones that wanted to build a arcade cabinet for sale at retail. They were the ones who put out the tender. They actually went to Act Games first and asked if Act Games was interested, and Act Games turned it down originally. Then that's when Arcade1up or Tastemakers picked up the ball. Now, they took that concept. They probably worked with ThinkUp based on their past history to come up with a concept to put forward to bid to Walmart and Namco. And that's eventually what became Arcade1up. But it's not like Scott Bacharach was sitting around one day and he was like, you know what's cool? Arcades. There was money already on the table for this that other people could have jumped on.
That was the first big, buy-in was from Walmart. That was the first big check that Scott took to ThinkUp and said,
wasn't
hey,
even a buy-in. It was their idea. It was Walmart's idea.
Let's do this thing. Yeah.
If you look at the timeline in the lawsuit, the ThinkUp alleges that it's in 2017 when they present this 3/4 cab to Scott, and then it's a year and a half roughly when Walmart places their first order, essentially. So sometime in 2018.
Geez, I mean, they were out and active very early in 2018, weren't they? Arcade1up, or was it 2019?
So what came first?
Sure 2018.
So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is Scott's idea in response to a request from Walmart, and that's the way this could have gone. Which I think is so in that scenario, everybody's telling the truth. It looks like Scott said, "Hey, I want this." ThinkUp comes up with it, but it really was a request originated from Namco and Walmart, which is why we have 5 million Pac-Man cabinets. That's just the way that it is. $2 super chat from Jay Mason. Unico is represented tonight, as always, in this live stream. Once again, Unico good. What's up, Fox and Mike? Lots coming this year.
Yeah, really quickly, Jay, thank you so much for asking about my son. He's doing really good now. We still don't know what happened, but he's home. He seems to be a lot better. We're crossing our fingers. It never happens again. Thank you very much for asking about him, man. Good job, man. What you're doing over at Unico is pretty exciting right now. The Nova Blast looks incredible. Good luck with the launch next month, and I can't wait to see everybody and enjoying them at their homes.
Yeah, I think we're really, and we are absolutely happy that your son came home, and maybe you don't have all the answers, but it's great that, it was as little of a scare as it was. But I know when you have kids like that age, man, it's just, your heart just stops. So, but everything's good. You're happy. I'm happy that Jay gave me a super chat, buddy. Here you go. Moving on, here we go. 2017 is when this happens, right? Is when they're claiming this happens. That said, hey, Scott Bacharach comes to Mr. Cummings and says, "Hey, listen, I negotiated this order, 100,000 Arcade1up machines for Walmart, 100,000. So this is, you're right. Just like we just said, this is where all this originated. Now, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it Walmart making the request and Scott tries to just fulfill that request, or was it Scott's idea? I don't think it really matters, but this is how it all kind of went down, a letter of credit from the retailer. And then in February of 2018, an important aspect of the handshake, I can't say handshake agreement without laughing, between Tastemakers and ThinkUp was confirmed in an email, a copy of which is attached. Now, this is Exhibit A. I didn't see the exhibits. James, you said you actually saw these exhibits. This is the email that confirms this handshake. Is that legit or what?
So, yeah, I do have the exhibits. I'd be happy to share that one with you.
I don't want to ruin your video that's coming up later.
Yeah, it is in there. The email's really short, though, and you can see this is where we start getting real deviation from what ThinkUp is alleging and what their own evidence shows, which is always dangerous, right?
That's kind of uncomfortable, yeah.
Let me actually...
While you're pulling it up, we're going to go ahead and pull up the next giveaway. Let me go ahead and share my screen, everybody. So the next hashtag, get ready. It's the same thing we just did. different hashtag. This is going to be one. We're kind of going to try to do 7 of these tonight. So I'm going to go kind of quick through these. Let's go ahead. And I'm going to try.
Kevin Clausen. If this was Judge Judy, I'd be like, I don't like the way James is looking at me. You're guilty.
You're guilty. She is completely impartial. She's a wonderful judge, and she's a national treasure. Thank you very much. Okay. Hashtag X-Men 97. Everybody jump in the chat and type in hashtag 97. You'll be entered for a chance to win something from my store.
Nope. Actually, this time, 19K Fox will pay for the TaskRabbit to come to your house to build your X-Men 97 cab. 19K Fox is footing the bill for TaskRabbit. X-Men 97.
No, I will be the TaskRabbit. I will show up. I am actually the one that's going to come and build it, and I'm going to have just abundance of wood glue and Loctite, so you will never, ever, ever be able to disassemble your cabinet again.
You know what's funny? We got a kitchen table in our kitchen, and the screws keep coming out. And I thought of you the other day because Larry's like, "What are we going to do?" And I was like, "I got the answer. I got a friend."
See, that's all you have to just use the Loctite, and you'll never.
Why do it with Arcade1up? Like, I get it doing it with like cheapish like furniture and stuff like that.
Sure,
but like eventually you're probably going to take this apart or mod it or something. Why do you make it so hard on yourself? It's like Arcade1up. They're like, everything's in place. We've got all the wires soldered down and stuff. What do we do now? Glue it all. Just glue it. Glue it all.
Just, in all seriousness, the Loctite is not glue. It's not an adhesive. It's the same blue Loctite you see on those little screws when you take apart a computer. It's a little extra insurance. It kind of just keeps them from kind of rattling loose when you're banging on them, when you're gaming.
Listen,
hard.
When I'm banging or screwing, I'm usually looking for something to make the process easier, not tighter. More
lubricant, less sticky. I got you. I understand what you're saying. Moving on.
I'm going to ruin this show yet.
That's the after show, guys. You want to stay tuned for that one. So in February 2019, Arcade1up receives the prestigious Toy of the Year. I don't know if this is prestigious. Toy of the Year award at New York Toy Fair. Just before the announcement of the award, Scott Bacharach handed Mr. Cummings a $500,000 tastemaker's check without any accompanied report. This was the first monies ThinkUp received for its work on Arcade1up. 2019, but they've been working on this since 2017. So does that seem fishy to you, or does that? Is this the way we normal? I mean, I guess spunky startups will usually foot the bill in the beginning, but eventually, they're kind of counting on money to come back. Eventually.
Yeah, the whole thing is out of whack, right? They get their order from Walmart at the end of 2017.
Don't get paid till 2019.
Yeah, well, then they negotiate the royalty in early 2018, and then here they are getting their first check in 2019. So there is definitely some things are all over the place, right?
Mike, I don't know about you, but I am happy working for my employer for a good 2 years before I get that first paycheck.
I'm looking down here at number 22 and unfamiliar with legal documents of this nature. Mr. Cummings asked Mr. Bacharach instead of reading or having a lawyer read it.
Let's just go ahead and jump down to 22 because I agree.
Honestly, like
that's the lead right there.
This lawsuit makes ThinkUp seem like they're the worst business people in the entire world. Like the dumbest company. And no offense to ThinkUp, because I know they do some amazing things, but you look at the failure of the shuffle golf, like that's just basically not looking through everything that happened or whatever. And then you see something like this and you're just like, you're a big company. You do stupid things. Like it's
not good. It's not good. And you're right. This is kind of the lead. If you look at 22, unfamiliar, it starts off unfamiliar with legal documents of this nature. Mr. Cummings asked Mr. Bacharach if the agreement provided his company with the 3% royalties. So you ask him that, like on the phone, or did you type it in an email and send it? Right? I mean, so there's proof, and then you would amend the document or have a lawyer look at it.
I'm gonna send him an email tomorrow saying that this entitles me to his firstborn child. He's not gonna read it. He'll write me. He'll be like, anything bad in this? No, totally not. Just sign it, buddy.
Just sign it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. It's the first rule of Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. It's the first rule about any document. If you don't understand it, don't sign it. if you're not familiar with it, have
Ask
someone
a
else look at
lawyer.
it.
It's something else. Like,
And I would
I
argue,
understand that
even
they
if
might.
you think you understand it,
I
get a
understand.
lawyer.
I understand they might not have had the money to consult with a lawyer, seeing how they never got paid for 2 years.
Well, once again, at some point, I'm asking questions. At some point, within 6 months, I mean, guys, it's been half a year. I can't wait forever. Just like the winner of this next drawing can't wait forever. We're going to go ahead and hit the drawing. Thank you so much, everybody, for jumping in. You're going to have a few more chances to win tonight. If you don't win, it's okay. And it is going to be Mike Hawkert is coming in strong. There we go. Mike Hawkert is here to save the day once again. And with the appropriate Neo Geo MVS, you should have won the last drawing. Listen, we'll take it.
You know what the funny thing
all good
is?
to go.
You know his real name is actually Michael Hunt.
Why didn't you just go with that?
I don't know.
It's close enough. It's so close. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, so unfamiliar with documents, you ask your friend, which listen, this is where it gets kind of shady, okay? If you've been dealing with somebody personally since the 90s and you should at some level be able to trust them, but at the same token, you've got to get it in writing because it's not just you, it's all your employees that are relying on this.
And if you look at the line right above that, right? The reason they're putting this stuff in writing now is because tastemakers investors are demanding it.
Exactly.
So, right? And
Exactly.
so right now you've got some third party multi-millionaire investor that's now dictating. So now you're not actually negotiating with Scott. You're negotiating with some high-powered investment firm. And
this is when you have the weird, creepy, disruptive. I swear, it's like it's a villain. It's like Mr. Evil. Like it couldn't be more aptly named than Disruptive Productions. So the preamble to the 2019 Arcade1up. Here comes Disruptive coming in to, I would assume, disrupt, live up to their name. But it was kind of on shaky ground. Anyway, this is kind of like a house of cards that you're just waiting for somebody to come by, just flick it, just kick that bottom card out from under it, and the whole thing comes tumbling down.
Yeah, my favorite is that they're saying here they have no idea who Disruptive is, but they went ahead and signed the agreement anyway.
And that's the thing. You've never heard of this company. They just show up 2 years into this venture where you're starting to get notoriety and you're selling a lot of stuff, and they just come in and they just sell it. I mean, I know I'm not trying to be extra hard on ThinkUp, but dude,
They didn't even read the contract. What does it matter? I'm surprised they knew Disruptive Products was in there.
I know.
Is there anybody else in this, Scott? No, totally just you. ThinkUp, you're good. All right. What?
And this is where we start to get a little shady. I don't know. 26. So the paragraph 4B did provide for the 3% royalties consistent with the oral agreement. So that's where, okay, they made good on that part between the parties, but did not clearly acknowledge their survival beyond the termination. So it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're gonna acknowledge the 3%, but there's like caveats already attached to all this, and it's a little bit shaky, it's a little bit sketchy. But you know what's not shaky and sketchy is a super chat, $5 coming to me from Galaga Guy 88, the greatest guy in the tri-state area. I heard if you super chat your number or your hashtag, your odds of winning increase to Ashley level. Listen, nobody gets to Ashley level.
You got to do a lot more.
You got to do a lot. Level. Listen, it's more than a hashtag, baby.
I've heard about what she had to do to get that blitz cap. It's
Ashley
not
had to work
friends.
hard. You cannot take
it's
that
not
away
worth
from
it,
her.
Friends.
She gave it her all, and it's something that no one should have to give. But I thank you for giving me the super chat, buddy, and I'm going to give you something a little special. But it's not what Ashley did. Here you go.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap up this drawing. Crazy Taxi. I'm sorry, the next one is Crazy Taxi. Hashtag Crazy Taxi is the third way you get a chance to win. So we're almost halfway there. So type in hashtag Crazy Taxi in the chat right now for your next chance to win something from my my online store. Man, I hope.
Oh, no. That's not the real prize.
Oh,
Actually,
okay. What's
the real
I'm
prize
sorry.
this time, guys, is something from Fox's online store.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I meant to say. Gotcha. Exactly. So Crazy Taxi is the third entry. Hashtag Crazy Taxi. Type it like you see it, and you'll be automatically entered to win. Check it out. did my mic be there? Okay, so moving on. Neither
Check it out.
Mr. Bacharach nor any other representative of the defendants ever explained to ThinkUp. This is, the onus is not on them. This is,
Yeah.
it's so horrible.
Like
They didn't-
they're acting like there is a excuse in contract law that if you did not have the intellectual capabilities to understand the contract, you can void a contract. I don't know if that's what they're suing here. They're like, listen, we're a really stupid company, so we shouldn't be held.
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna say that that ThinkUp is very trusting, but it is not on the responsibility of the people that are screwing you to tell you that they're screwing you, because they're screwing you. You have to be at some point working with Scott since the 90s, and now we're 2 to 3 years into this, what appears to be a very lucrative venture. You have got to get some representation. Some legal experts have got to be on your team in some way, shape, or form. It's crazy.
Obviously, if a lawyer took this on, they think they have a case. I will say this isn't the most frivolous lawsuit Arcade1up have faced in the last 2 years. Yeah.
That's true. This, by comparison, this is like an ironclad case. Some lawsuits brought to this company are so incredibly frivolous that they're just dismissed days before they're even due to go to trial or be put in front of a judge. They're so frivolous and stupid, and that is definitely
that's just car crash chasing.
That's ambulance chasing. Yeah, it's really bad. But what's not bad is this hashtag that you need to type in right now. We're going to go ahead and do the drawing. Hashtag Crazy Taxi, 66 entries. 68 entries. We're going to draw right now. Here, let's see who the number 3 winner is. And this time it actually is, according to Michael B., something from my store. Who's going to win? It's going to be,
Christopher Davis. Congratulations.
Awesome.
You're the next runner-up on The Price is Right.
You have the chance to possibly maybe win a chance to win. There we go. Once again, everybody, just email me all the winners. Email me at 19kfox1@gmail.com. Give me your name. Please include your YouTube handle so I know who you are, your name, your address, and then the item that you want from the store. If it's a t-shirt, let me know the sizes and the color and all that good stuff. Thank you so much, and congratulations to Christopher Davis. All right. So moving on, guys. Moving on. According to the conversations Mr. Cummings had with Tastemaker, and once again, conversations. Oh, my God. According to the conversations Mr. Cummings had with tastemakers, employees, as well as Mr. Bacharach, ThinkUp believes, and this is where this gets really weird, ThinkUp believes the total revenue during the term of 2019 Arcade1up agreement alone may have been in the range of $500,000 to $750,000.
Billion with a B.
Well, billion with a B. This is a billion with a B. So that's
500 million, guys.
Yeah, 500. I'm sorry, 500 million to 750 million.
It's
half a billion,
three
and
quarters
of a billion. I'm sorry. It's almost preposterous that I couldn't even say it. I don't know. I don't know where they thought these numbers were coming from, but it's kind of telling when you say in conversations with other employees as well as Mr. Bacharach. So there's no direct line of communication. There's no official communication. It's just, hey, I talked to a guy in the mailroom and he said that you made $1 billion.
Well, here's the thing. Like, they might have made $750 million in total sales, but that's not revenue, right?
That's not revenue. That's not, I mean, the margin I'm sure is pretty low on something like this.
Right. It's likely gross sales. Right.
I know that if you're selling to Walmart, your margins are just abysmal, but that's just sort of the nature of the beast.
Then there's contributing factors to that too. Arcade1up has a buyback clause in most of their contracts with these retailers. So 750 million might have went out the door in sales, but yet, 250 million came back in buybacks.
So if you were, but just an outsider looking in, I mean, we've been following them for a while, Mike, would you have ever estimated that this company had a value of $500 million?
What?
Would you have ever estimated that this company had an assessed value of $500 million?
So they sold 2 million cabs.
think it's
times
4 million
5.
now, right? Was their last number? they
Yeah, yeah,
announced?
absolutely. Like if you
Yeah.
look at it, even if they sold
But as of
2 million
2019,
2 million cabs at $500, I mean, there's $1 billion.
you got to carry the one. Yeah.
No, that's $1 billion.
Yeah, and I think what they're saying here, it's from the term of the agreement. So since February 2019 to the time of termination, they believe
Gotcha.
total
Okay. During
revenues
the
was
term.
500 million. And if
I
you
don't
look
know about that.
the
Yeah.
evaluation of the 20 million in royalties that would be owed to ThinkUp is about 666 million, right? So
And so did these conversations with employees and Mr. Bacharach happen before or after
correct.
what happened
Great
with
question.
employees and Mr. Bacharach? That's another
Exactly.
question, right?
'Cause
Exactly.
one might be able to wonder who
Because
employees
like
are.
let's be honest here. There's some hard feelings about
Yes.
from former employees and company owners and ThinkUp. There's some hard feelings.
I think that's fair to say for sure. Yeah. So moving down the line, by the time the Infinity Game Table was released to retail, ThinkUp had completed ThinkUp really, according to them, did just a ton of work. And this was another one of those. Evidently, this is a product that was an absolute banger. ThinkUp had completed the design for 50 games to be included, as well as the product itself, right? And the 3 different sizes you had. They had a size that was never even released. I think it was a 19, a 24, and a 32. So we never saw the 19, right?
Well, I think that's now our Infinity game board that's out.
The
was
board,
released
which is like
last year. Yeah.
Right. So, they did so that day, and it's funny because the board, which is the newest product, was actually designed way back when they did the initial product line, which is the three sizes. So they did the design of that, and then now they're claiming they did 50 games, and when you do that, there's this interesting because now you're entitled to, and if you look at 49, number 49 here, they're entitled to 3% revenue from everything that they're selling. They're also entitled to the 70% of the games that they actually made. The developers receive that, so they would be entitled to 70% revenue of those games that they actually, not the ones that are like a port from Hasbro or something, the ones that they actually invented, like just made up.
So again, agreed. How? Was there a written agreement? Was there a contract? Agreed how?
Yeah, exactly.
correct.
Agreed how.
Yeah, and
Agreed
they
how.
actually do take credit for the Hasbro games, but they say they found the developers that brought the 16 Hasbro games.
I don't know why
To
they're
the
trying to take
system.
credit for something that was on sale on AliExpress.
No,
It's like, guys,
they're
I
baby.
invented this new thing. It's called elastic bands. I just
It'll
invented
never work. The kids will never buy it. But the kids are going to buy this next hashtag, this next giveaway. Hashtag Astro City for your chance to win something from my store. Type it in the chat right now. Hashtag Astro City. Type it like you see it, and you'll be entered for a chance to win something else, something special, something great. Mike, tell them what it's going to be.
I think it's a dinner for 2 at Sandals, Jamaica. A trip for 2 to
Yeah, it's all
Sandals,
inclusive.
Jamaica.
It's all inclusive. It's
All inclusive.
All inclusive. Yeah. So type hashtag
It's
Astro City.
something from his store, obviously.
It's something from my store that you could wear in Sandals, Jamaica, if you go and take a friend, because that's
Which is
that's
not
what you
paid
should do.
for. Which is
It's
not
not.
paid.
It's not, but it is all inclusive. If you pay for it yourself, it's all inclusive. That's how all this works. It's great if you don't think about it. Okay, stop sharing that. Let's go to the next slide. Where do we leave off at? Was that 6, 7, 10? Yeah, 11. Here we go. So we're moving on down the line here. While Mr. Cummings continued to press Mr. Bacharach for compensation for the new games it developed and sold through the game store. This is talking about the Infinity Game Table and those apps and games they developed. For better reporting, sales of the Infinity Game Table skyrocketed, and ThinkUp began receiving what Mr. Cummings understood to be payments representing 3% of the net sales of the Infinity Game Table. It's what he understood. This was not verified. And the Infinity Game board, as well as those of the Arcade1up products, to better manage kit. And this is another thing. It's just it's like a slap the forehead moment, and you don't understand it. Why do you let them do this to you? So that Arcade1up could better manage their cash flow they began paying ThinkUp a fixed monthly amount, subject to reconciliation at certain intervals. Okay, we owe you this money. We're not going to tell you how much we owe you. You don't even really know how much we owe you because we haven't, given you the sales figures. But let's just go ahead and just start. We'll just start giving you just a monthly allowance. Like you live at home. As long as you mow the yard, you get $30.
So it sounds like either ThinkUp or Arcade1up need to invest in some kind of accounting software for one. I've heard good things about Sage software. Simply Accounting has been a staple for years. QuickBooks is another option. I don't like QuickBooks, but if you use one of those, it could
get Oracle.
Oracle's a timekeeping system. I don't know. Is Oracle also
yes.
Well, NetSuite is a full general ledger.
I think you're missing the point, though. I don't think that they want. I don't think they want to have accounting. I don't think that they. I'm getting the idea.
This is ludicrous. At no point would any company ever send out a check and just say $10,000 without having some kind of unit of measurement of what they're receiving it from, or some kind of letter explaining it. And then no company in good standing that actually gets audits or anything like that would ever get through the audit process without something in writing from the company saying, what is this for? Now, I know not every company, I guess, gets a full audit every year, because that's a thing for charities. But if you go through an audit process, there usually has to be that process where an auditor will ask to see your contract for the revenue received. What is it for? And there has to be some kind of reconciliation between the work that you did and the money that you received. And none of this is done. So it just sounds, these are just really shitty businesses, really poorly run businesses.
That provision is really where I think the one section where Arcade1up may have gotten themselves in trouble, because the agreement specifies exactly how and in which manner they will be paid. And here's an alteration of that outside of the agreement. So, it won't mean much, but it's technically the one spot where they've adjusted the contract in some other means.
But see, the thing is, we don't have the contract. They may have a clause in there that allows
I do have the contract.
Do they have a clause in there that allows them to adjust the payment schedule?
It does not, but I will tell you it's 100% one-sided for Arcade1up. There is nothing in there that protects ThinkUp on anything.
But to be fair, if I was going to draw up an agreement between me and somebody else, I'm going to draw it up in my
100%.
favor.
The contract's a negotiation, guys. This is how it works.
There was no
I'm going to drop a contract. I'm going to put everything I want into it. And then you wait for the person to come back and say, these are the things we want changed. Like every time I sign a lease agreement, I put all kinds of craziness in there being like, yeah, we don't have to give you any notice or pay you any money. Like if we want, we can just leave. And then the guys come back and they're like, no, that's not going to work. But that's part of the negotiation, because then the leaseholder comes back and says, how can we get this to work? And I'm like, well, give us a 3-month sunset clause. In the event we lose government funding, we can shut down the office with 3 months notice. They're like, cool. Everybody gets what they want. But it sounds like a contract went out that was written like that. And then Jerry said, is it good, Scott? Yeah. Okay, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
And a common provision in there would be guaranteeing them an audit of sales, right? That they would get some sort of audit that they could use to verify they've been paid correctly.
I guess
but
generally speaking,
never asked for it, so it's not in there. They don't have that right.
Oh my!
It's sad. It's sad. It's like watching someone just get beaten to death, and it's like they're too dumb to get out of their own way. I mean, it's sad. I mean, you should never take advantage of someone, right? But that's kind of the nature of business.
Again, I go back to that. When you enter into an agreement, the only way, if there is a provision in there that they can end their relationship with ThinkUp at any time with no compensation, and James, I've never seen the contract, so you can tell me, the only thing that can get them out of this is really they have to plead that, we do not have the acumen and intelligence to enter an agreement like this. That's the truth. That's the only thing they have to go on right now, is because if it's in there in black and white that Arcade1up at any time can end the relationship between, they're screwed unless they can prove that they entered into this in bad faith and they didn't have the capacity to understand what they were signing on to.
Yeah. Right. It gives Arcade1up the ability to terminate the contract with 30 days written notice for any reason at any time.
Well, and did they provide written notice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's covered coming up. But
Yeah.
but I'll tell you too, they're going to be hard pressed to argue that they didn't have the mental acuity when they're taking credit for developing every product that Arcade
That's-
makes.
Listen. I'm basically a rocket scientist. I'm just not good at reading.
I can't read the words so good, but the word that I can read is hashtag Astro City. Everybody going to go ahead and do the drawing right now. 72 people have entered. Going to go ahead and hit the draw. Thank you so much for entering. Let's see who's going to win. You're going to have 3 more chances tonight to win something, guys. I'm going to try to stay on top of this. I apologize. I know we're getting into the topic, but it's a lot of fun.
Hey,
And Ted,
Ted,
Adam Green.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Awesome. You have won an item from my store. So all you got to do is just pick out an item from my store and email me at 19
You have won a trip for 2 to Sandals, Jamaica.
On your own dime.
You get to pay for it all. That's the beauty of it. It's great. Just a ton of fun.
So Decadent Dave has a great comment here. See, the thing is, Jerry was going to sign and he was trying to read and he was like, oh, it's a little too cloudy in here. I can't read it. And John was like vaping, being like, just sign the agreement, man.
Come on, man. What are you worried about? It's fine. Come on, just sign it. We're best friends. We're buddies. Just like me and Gallagher guy with his 199 super chat. Good Lord, even use Excel.
What a stupid business. Like, it's just like, I got a check for $10,000. I'm just going to put it in revenue. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm not going to reconcile it against anything.
It doesn't matter.
I'm just happy to get some money, guys.
Hey, listen, we're all friends here. Everybody's happy, especially me getting a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Here you go.
Time to call it quits.
Moving on, as if it could get any worse. ThinkUp received a call from Dave. Okay, this is crazy. Davin, we're going to call him Satan, the chief operating officer of Tastemaker.
He's not Satan. It's Davin Surfer.
Surfer. It's not Surfer. It's Suffer.
Yeah, I've had meetings with Davin. I know Davin.
Well, I'm just kidding. I don't mean to call him Satan. I apologize. Mr. Suffer advised that Mr. Backrack had resigned from this. And this is the bombshell, right? That, August 10th, we know exactly the time or the date, at least, when it happened. That he resigned and the defendants because of financial reasons, what they're claiming. So he resigns because of financial reasons. I'm not sure what the financial reasons pertain to, but this has just been nothing but financial reasons. But their relationship with ThinkUp was still valued and that the agreements with ThinkUp would be honored. He further asked that Mr. So-and-so, whatever, that it just sort of cuts off after that. But we move on to 59. At the meeting attended by Dora Devrin.
Dora's the CFO. So okay. Dora's the one where John used to go to her and be like, "Hey, I think we should put Samwell buttons in." She'd be like, "I don't think that's going to happen.
It's too expensive.
Yeah,
too expensive." She was the CFO of Disruptive, but and maybe this is just an issue because Mike, you seem to understand that she worked for Tastmasters, or do you?
It's weird because you're saying she's the chief financial officer at Disruptive. Wouldn't she have an email that says Dora@disruptive.com?
Yes, or Dora the Explorer if she was funky.
Dora's the CFO of Tastemakers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
it is on her LinkedIn. It's CFO of Tastemakers, not.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you put this in a court document. I don't know if that you just misunderstood, which I kind of. I tend to think that you misunderstood a lot of things. So maybe that was just a misunderstanding on your part. I don't know why they entered that in. Maybe they were trying to paint Disruptive as a disruptive force in this, arrangement, maybe. But an individual named Mackenzie Shea, I don't know if anybody knows who that is, later identified as the chief restructuring officer of Disruptive. Once again, Disruptive. Mike, have you ever had any interaction with Disruptive? Or anyone from Disruptive or ever heard Disruptive?
No, but I did hear that UAG was at the strip club and they pulled down his pants. The stripper pulled down his pants and everybody saw his wiener.
Was her name Disruptive?
No, I don't know anything about this stuff, guys. Like Disruptive is apparently the strip club that invested in them. I don't know anything else about them. Part of this chain or something like that. Davin's the CMO. Is the CMO? CTO. At Arcade1up, and Dora's the CFO.
Right. Yeah. I this is the first time I'm hearing anything about Disruptive. I don't know, but they are listed as one of the defendants, I guess, in this case.
I will give the name a break, right? Because in venture capital speak, right, you're looking for companies that are disrupting industry, and so catchy name for a VC firm is to call yourself Disruptive Products
I
because that's what
guess
you invest in, right?
call it what it is.
So
It's just
silly. Yeah.
it's just odd that we've never heard of this. Well, not that we need to know about
But-
all the inner workings of
Yeah, I
tastemakers.
had
or
heard the
one-up.
name before. It's in some of the press releases regarding their investments.
Oh, okay.
It says that they received an investment as Disruptive Products or whatever. So that's in some of the PR from back in the day.
And apparently in the same meeting where they said that, hey, listen, Scott has left. We value the relationship, the agreement, and we're going to honor all that. But also, by the way, we're not going to honor the agreement or the agreement to pay ThinkUp 3% of the revenue received for the sales of everything. I guess. I mean, that was basically what they were claiming, is that they invented everything, so they are entitled to 3% of everything.
Yeah. So what got cut off there on the one where you said where it just says Mr. is they asked Cummings to fly to Miami to meet to discuss their future relationship and how to work together. So here again, we see a misunderstanding where he's saying, you said it was all good, but at the same time, he admits they want him to fly out to Miami to discuss how they move forward in this new organization. And that's where they drop on him, hey, we need to restructure our deal.
Ah, okay. So admitting that maybe there wasn't 100% clarification. If we need you to fly out, that doesn't mean that we 100% are on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very weird. Very weird for sure. Okay, so moving on to the next slide.
Oh, wait a minute. Disruptive. Someone's putting up there now. Disruptive Products Inc., also known as Tastemakers. So, yeah, that might be Scott Bacharach's original company and not the strip club. The strip club may just be an investment.
Well, that's going to be sad if that's not the strip club.
I know. It's a lot more
Yeah,
fun when you think a strip club owns Arcade1up.
And see, now we got KDJ29 coming up with all kind of cool names like Stripper Deluxe.
Yeah, think of the
XL.
collab cabs you could have, man.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now.
Great.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like seeing old documents and stuff like that. And yeah, I remember Scott Bacharach being tied to Disruptive because it was some kind of concept that he was kind of come up with toys and other things like that. And he's from that generation, you know. He grew up in California in that day and age, like coming up with disruptive ideas to go against the man. And
Rage
stuff
Against
like
the
that.
Machine.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's not what we have right now.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. So, well, okay, well that further muddies the waters, then, doesn't it?
Let's just shut the show down and just go to the strip club.
Okay, sounds good. See you later, guys. We're out of here. Good. But I got all these slides, Mike. I got to show off some of these slides. Okay, let's get through these at least. So, what's going on? So, meeting quickly ends due to the aggressive position taken by the defendants. On August 21st, 2023, Disruptive sent a letter to ThinkUp notifying plaintiff that the 2019 Arcade1up agreement was being terminated in 30 days, blaming the termination on ThinkUp's refusal to renegotiate the royalty arrangement. Rumors of ThinkUp employees, and this is funny, and the rumor of ThinkUp employees planning on discontinuing their work with respect to the Arcade1up and Infinity Game Table products if the royalties were not paid. So there was rumblings within the company, and like ThinkUp is talking to the people at Arcade1up, and they're saying, man, screw this. I'm not going to work on them if they don't pay me, which is understandable, but citing that as a reason why we're going to just go ahead and shut this down. It's like, well, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Again, this is just really dumb because if it's in and again, I'm assuming, and this is going by what I know of Canadian law and from watching Matlock growing up, I'm not a big city lawyer, but
I tell you what.
mean, again, if there's a provision in the signed agreement they signed stating that they could end the agreement at any time within 30 days of written notice, and they provided that written notice, it would be very hard to justify that the deal was supposed to continue past that unless they did not read the agreement.
Which is kind of what leads to this. Due to the magnitude of the work required to develop the Arcade1up and Infinity game lines or Infinity line of products and the anticipated revenue from the lifetime arrangements, ThinkUp significantly curtailed its pursuits of new businesses from other sources and focused its energy purely on the success of the products being developed by Tastemakers. As a result, of Tastemaker's sudden termination of the relationship, ThinkUp was forced to lay off all of its staff with the exception of his family, immediate family.
Well, I mean, that's what is it? Patronage or patron? I don't know.
Nepotism?
Nepotism. So, anyways, can
Yeah.
you just bring up this comment by KDJ29?
Yeah, which one?
And made at 10:31 p.m.
No, that was
See, was Russian Attack actually named Russian Attack? I thought it was Green Beret in the arcades.
in America. It was Rush in Attack.
Attack.
Yeah,
Where was it Green Beret? Look it up, guys. I'm almost 100% sure it was Green Beret.
it's got to be some Canadian censorship garbage.
No, Green
Your
Beret.
your communist country hates you. It's horrible.
Anyways, you guys go about your show. I'm going to look this up.
You
I'm
go ahead and
gonna
look
get to
that
the
up and
bottom
get
of
on
this.
that because I need to know that because that's just ridiculous. I can't sleep until that's resolved. Just like I can't sleep until this injustice is resolved. We've got to free, guys. We got a free AVP. Hashtag free AVP for your chance to win something from my store. It's the biggest travesty, the injustice in the gaming world, the arcade gaming world. We don't have an official release from Capcom besides that one arcade fighting stick that was only released in the UK. It's a travesty. Americans deserve better. Canadians deserve better. Mexicans deserve better.
So
Hashtag free
Green
AVP.
Beret was the name in Japan and Europe.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Okay.
And where I grew up in Newfoundland, which was originally a British colony, I'm going to take that as it was originally Green Beret here.
Makes sense to me.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
You win. Perfect. So moving on. So we have this is the first count, right? Accounting.
Yep.
Duh. I mean, this is what the plaintiff is entitled to or claiming they're entitled to. They want Tastemakers / Arcade1up / Disruptive to go back and account for the revenue that they made from all their sales. Guys, I don't know how you feel, but to me, it's like it's too little, too late. I mean, why weren't you demanding this before you cooperated at all beyond some of those initial concepts?
Well, I mean, realistically, due to their bad business practices, and I'm talking about ThinkUp right now,
Right.
and the shift in direction at Arcade1up, I mean, unfortunately, it's put ThinkUp in a very bad position. And I mean, them laying off everybody, some of that has to go into the failed Kickstarter too. Like there's their own business mistakes there. But I mean, I would imagine this company is trying to build itself back up from the ashes, and this is an opportunity to go after Arcade1up. It's just, I feel like there could be some kind of agreement and they can meet in the middle if Arcade1up has the money to do so. I'm not 100% sure Arcade1up has the money to do so right now. Arcade1up is not the Arcade1up from 2021, it's not even the Arcade1up from 2022. So it's the kind of thing like you're going to go sue someone. You can't get blood from a stone. I mean,
That's a really good point.
They might not have this money or whatever money that they're thinking of. Then the other thing is, like, it seems like unless Scott, after his exit, and other employees, whoever they may be, have given them some inside information, which actually I don't know how that would hold up in a court of law, how that works. But unless they have accurate information, they may go into this process and be like, we demand this stuff. And then Arcade1up's like, yeah, we'll provide it. We don't owe you shit. We were actually generous with you.
It's sad, but we'll talk about what I think the implications could be. Second count is breach of contract. What contract? I mean, I think at some point they did agree to something, but it seems to me if either one of these two parties or three parties was contract savvy, it was not ThinkUp.
No. And if they had a lawfully binding agreement, I mean, again, that provision that provides written notice, 30 days, unless they weren't paid everything that was owed to them, which I think is a valid argument that they still may be owed some revenue under the agreement, but anything after the agreement, they're shit out of luck. They signed this contract. They were provided 30 days written notice. A deal is a deal is a deal. I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so they're still owed a little over 200,000 according to Arcade1up.
Yeah.
That they still owe them.
Mhm.
But per the terms of the agreement, if ThinkUp cashes that check, they waive all claims and everything against Arcade1up. So ThinkUp is in this position where they can't cash it, basically, if they want to move forward with this lawsuit.
And of course,
So that's
count three is
also
going to be
interesting.
quasi contract, the unjust enrichment. Um, I just, I don't know. It's just sad. I mean, it's like it's one of those things where you really have to listen to you have to seek wise counsel. Like, who in the hell said, "Yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." You know, just a handshake. And this is more of the legalese, talking about the defendants and what they're required to account for. I think I had one more slide. 19. Where's it at? Here we go. Boom. And this is going to be just sort of the final. This is the
This is their demands.
the list of demands. Yeah. That just, I don't know, guys. They want to be compensated, obviously, for the lost revenue, their court fees and all that.
Punitive damages, all kinds
Punitive
of stuff.
damages.
They want
Everything. They want the maximum for every count. They want the interest that they're owed for the time that they were not paid. I mean,
Oh yeah, they're not gonna get that back. No, I mean what they'll receive if they receive anything. Like if they were to settle out of court, Arcade1up will provide the detailed information on what they should have received, and they would agree to pay them out whatever the difference is, if there is a difference. That's the kind of settlement you would see from this. Out of that, I mean, I don't see anything else. Unless they can prove it. They can't even prove sales numbers. Like,
well, that's the problem. I mean, you've gone into this without any kind of verification, any kind of a sale, any kind of anything. So how do you even arrive at a number when Arcade1up is holding all the cards? Why couldn't they just falsify documents or just say anything at this point?
I think what they're trying to argue there is an imbalance of power in the bargaining agreement. Yeah,
indeed.
I'm not joking. 100%.
Yeah, that is
right.
I will say too, one of the exhibits contains Arcade1up's stated sales for 2023 up through Q3. So essentially 9 months of sales, which I find quite surprising. The numbers, they're much bigger than I would have ever anticipated.
Is that what you have here?
No, that's the one I shared earlier. This one here is the email, which also calls into question ThinkUp's understanding of what was said, because the email is super vague as well.
That's really sad.
Yeah, and so we have the sales numbers to see kind of what Arcade1up at least claims they sold during that period, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, ThinkUp really does not have a leg to stand on.
But what does have a leg to stand on is the winner of this next hashtag. Going to go ahead and hit the draw button on free AVP, guys. Let's hope they free AVP in the future, whether it's Arcade1up or somebody else. I would love to see some kind of home release for that in the US and Canada. And Clax
29, congratulations.
Good job, buddy. You did it. All right, man. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Yeah, once again, the winners, send me an email. Let me know what you want, and I will send it to you.
I don't know. To me, like, I think this is all just sad. I understand the position that ThinkUp is in, trying to force this because the company is basically dead at this point. I mean, I understand they probably need this, but you know what sucks? You know who really loses here? Not Arcade1up, because they're not going to really have any problem with this.
Oh, they're going to be fine. Yeah,
they're going to be fine, I think, looking at this. But what you know who really loses out? We do. The people that are waiting for Arcade1up to do stuff, because they're too busy dealing with these just ridiculous lawsuits and legal issues and stuff like that. When they should be just making shit. Like, I don't know. This is just frustrating to see. Like, it's frustrating to see this stuff all happening when really all we really want to be talking about is, hey, there's new shit, so let's argue whether or not we should get it. Let's argue whether or not it's a good decision. Let's argue whether or not it's going to be a good cab. That's what I want to be talking about. I don't want to be talking about this legal stuff. This is stupid.
This sucks. Yeah.
All through Arcade1up's communications with ThinkUp, even the termination, they want to still work with ThinkUp. They recognize that ThinkUp is the one that's developing all their products, and they didn't want to lose the relationship. They just simply can't afford that royalty. and so they want to look at a fixed fee, and ThinkUp isn't willing to negotiate on that stand front. So
Well, I think ThinkUp may be looking at working with another individual making cabs in the future. So I don't think ThinkUp is interested in continuing the agreement.
yeah,
And it just drives the point home, guys. Unico good. Hashtag Unico good in the chat. If type in hashtag Unico good in the chat right now for your chance to win something from our store. Everybody, hashtag Unico good right now. And yeah, I mean, it's true. It's facts. Okay, so the way all this shakes out, end of the day, I mean, at some point, me and Mike are having a great time, but at some point, if we enter into some kind of
Hand job deal,
besides that, those are free.
Yeah.
We know we talked about that before, but anything beyond that, when there's other parties involved, like when this grows beyond, hey, I'm gonna make something for Mike and give it to Mike. That's one thing. But if I'm employing people, and I have a staff, and I have facilities, and I have labor costs, and I have material costs, and all this stuff I'm incurring as a responsibility to them and their families, I have to get a freaking piece of paper signed. And I have to say, listen, we have to lock this down so that we can continue making great things.
You would be amazed. Even the biggest companies in the world. Now, I've been pretty hard on ThinkUp throughout this process, and honestly, ThinkUp, a great company, big part of why we're all here talking about this shit.
Absolutely.
They did an interview one time. I think it was with Unqualified Critics, where they came off really poorly. So I don't think they're going to be received well from the home arcade community. Also because of that, but. And I think it was Jerry from ThinkUp that did the interview. I think it was Unqualified Critics. Someone here can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, where was I going with that? Businesses sometimes, even the best businesses, make stupid mistakes. I mean, we all logged in here on Windows, for example. We're all, pointing our mouse and clicking on stuff, which is a graphic interface system. You know who originally created the graphic interface system?
Xerox.
Apple.
Oh, Xerox.
No.
Yes.
Well, did Apple
Xerox,
steal it from Xerox?
Apple stole it from Xerox.
Okay, so Xerox
Yes.
originally did it. Apple then stole it. But what happened is Apple were trying to work with Microsoft at the time, invited Bill Gates in. He came in and saw it, reversed engineer it, and was first to bring it to market.
Yeah.
So all these companies are stupid as fuck. I mean, even Microsoft in the first place went and sold DOS for like, what was it, $750,000 to IBM. They didn't even have a DOS at the time. They sold a concept, went to a computer programmer, gave him $2,500 for DOS. They had just sold it for $750,000 to IBM.
Yeah, if
Like
you've
all
never
these
seen
companies,
Pirates of Silicon
That's
Valley,
what I'm
they
talking
do a
about, yeah.
great scene in there,
Oh, yeah.
right? Where Bill Gates is like, you're just mad because you're like the neighbor down the street who saw that their neighbor had the door left open and you wanted to take his big screen TV. And when you walked in, I was already walking out with it.
Yeah.
But that's true. I mean, listen, Steve Jobs was a salesman. He had a vision. He decided, I'm going to make something and I'm going to convince you that you can't live without it. I mean, that's really what he was. I mean, he wasn't the technical genius that some people think that he was.
The GUI was designed by Xerox because they wanted to sell more printers to businesses.
Right.
And they figured businesses needed an easy way to use a printer. It was too hard to do all the commands and everything. So they created this GUI, and then they thought, well, there's no value in this GUI, so who cares if somebody else takes it? We just want to sell.
Wait a
laser
minute.
printers.
Micah says it's a great movie, but it's inaccurate. Next, he's going to tell me that Bruce Willis really didn't die on the moon in Armageddon.
No, wait, we know that's not true. That's ridiculous.
On the
That's a
asteroid,
lie.
sorry.
I
But
thought
you
it
know
was a
what isn't-
documentary.
It was a documentary.
Bill Gates, Noah Wiley, or Steve Jobs is Noah.
It told the
In real
truth.
life.
It told the truth. Just like Terry is telling the truth with his $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat, buddy. I just want the 6-player
Oh, it's
X-Men
never
cabinet,
happening.
guys. If they made it, and if it was $1,000, would you buy it?
The same people are the people saying, oh, I'd love to get a
No,
TMNT,
I'm
but
talking
if they
to
made
you
a
two.
2-player version, because
I know,
I don't have
but
room for that in my house.
I'm talking to you two. If they made it like that, not like the thing that I made. What they made was a real representation of the real cabinet. If they made that for $1,000, would you buy it?
You know what's wild, though? If you go back and look at that, we heard that X-Men was a long, long time ago prototype. Like,
Yes.
old prototype. But look at it closely, man. It's a deluxe cab.
Yeah.
There's no riser on that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of the initial designs, I think that's what they were. Anyway, Terry, thank you so much for bringing up a great conversation. An arcade game that is near and dear to my heart. I got to give you something a little special, buddy. And, well, take this instead. I think I would buy
And
it.
Alien versus Predator is some piece of shit arcade game.
I hate
Like,
you. I
what
hate
kind of
you.
asshole likes that?
I can't believe, how dare you? But you know what puts a smile on my face is Unico good. Unico is
Unico
good.
good.
64 people have jumped in and typed hashtag Unico good. I'm going to go ahead and take the drawing. Draw it now. Go ahead and hit the button. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to enter. We're going to have one more tonight before we go, guys. Hashtag Unico good. What could the next one possibly be? Who the hell knows? Only Mike B knows. Angelo P, thank you.
P.
So glad you got, man. Awesome. Always in the chat. I really appreciate you, man. I'm glad you won. The next drawing is coming up very shortly. Congratulations to Angelo P. All right. So where does it go from here? I mean, like you said, you can't get blood from a stone or water or whatever. I mean, it's
Question is, have they hired a new development firm? Because if they don't have somebody doing R&D in the product development, how do they make anything?
Well, it's going to be a lot like their marketing. I guess Cyrus and Nicole will handle it.
Oh my God. Absolutely. That's the big, for me, that's the biggest spotlight. That's the biggest thing that's really shown on this whole
I wouldn't worry about it. I think Arcade1up will end up countersuing ThinkUp and they'll have to work for them.
I think if you've got a company that we make jokes about them all day long, but these are kids that don't have any nostalgia for it, so they have no imagination for it. Looks like ThinkUp was doing all the work for them. Anyway.
No. So we're talking about Cyrus. Like, Cyrus is the key person. There's a lot of misconceptions with the way Arcade1up works, and we don't know everything. We know Cyrus is following John D's footsteps, but we don't know if Cyrus is making all the decisions. We don't know what the hell's happened there. We don't know who's bringing what. Is it Davin, the CTO? Is it Dora, the CFO? We don't know who's making these decisions. So we can't look at the team that showed on TV of Cyrus, Nicole, and be like, man, these guys don't know anything. That's the forward-facing thing. I don't know why they're doing that, but it's creating that stigma that nobody at this company knows anything about arcades. And then if you listen to John D, it's the same thing again. No one at the company knows anything about arcades. So, I mean, Darren's here in the chat. He would probably be able to lay it out better for us. Darren used to work at Arcade1up. I don't know who's working there now, but like, we're looking at what they're showing on the outside and saying they're all 20-year-old kids. We don't know for sure if they are, and we don't know for sure if they're the people making the decisions.
He didn't do it though. Darren didn't do it.
No, he didn't do it.
No, he didn't do it. Okay, irregardless of that, let's say that they've ruined the relationship with ThinkUp, right? Let's just say that this is just caught up in legal hell forever. The chances of them building something new, creating something new, I think are even slimmer than we thought. To me, it looks like they're going to ride the coattails of the Infinity Game board, which may take them far. I don't know. The Infinity Game table, the collector cades get all the love for some ungodly reason. The existing inventory seems to be not selling well, so they could ride on that for a while. But
and whatever products they had in the hopper that weren't released yet, they could release those. But unless they hire another firm, chances are it could be some time, which would explain why
that's an assumption. That's an assumption.
Yeah, it is an assumption. But what about Mike? What about assets? Let's say ThinkUp did all the design. They have the design assets. So let's say, okay, screw you, ThinkUp. We're going to go with this other company down the street. If Arcade1up has none of the information,
no,
drawings,
that's not how it works. It depends on what's in the contract, because any creative property done
is
while
owned by ThinkUp.
No, is it? Is it in the contract?
It's not in the contract. So in the United States, in contract law, in this case, ThinkUp is
the intellectual property,
a contractor, and they own the intellectual property unless otherwise specifically stated and transferred to Arcade1up.
Okay, so if they own the intellectual property, what are we talking about here? Because I mean, like, it's not rocket science what they're doing. Like, I mean, they're coming up with side panels, and how to flat pack them. That's basically what they're
Sure,
designing.
sure.
The logo, I mean, I would have to look at that, but I'm assuming Arcade1up has that trademark. So I don't believe the logo is ThinkUp's intellectual property.
So they designed the logo, which is why they initially filed the trademark dispute,
which didn't go anywhere. But I think my point is this: if you're going to start brand new, let's say the assets are with ThinkUp, they're not going to let that go. The CAD drawings, the files, all that stuff. If you're not a creative or you don't have that information, you're just a licensing person, whatever Cyrus and the crew there are. What do they give to a new company and say, hey, build us these cabinets? If they have to start from scratch, what's the likelihood that that's going to happen? I mean, the startup fees for that, the cost of that is going to be pretty high until they kind of get going.
Not really.
I'm saying,
I would imagine a lot of this isn't intellectual property. So when you think about the cab shapes, those are ripped off of, earlier cab designs. So you can't really claim that.
So I mean, again, this isn't rocket science. Like,
I agree.
Take some MDF board.
I don't think it's
cut it into an arcade shape and figure out how to flat pack it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the biggest
but
question comes: can they find another product design firm that will do it for a flat fee as opposed to the royalties? That's the biggest thing.
Because now they're savvy, and most likely this other company is going to be like, yeah, no, we need a contract. We're going to need something written down.
There's people out there that, like, you guys are making way too much of this piece.
There's people out there there's people out there that came here expecting prototype pictures, and unfortunately, I'm all out. I don't know. I think we've disappointed P-dubs. Sorry, Patrick, we're out, fresh out.
They could also do like they did with Cyrus and just hire a product engineer straight out of college and say, "Here you go," and then they would own all the intellectual.
Mike, to your point, it's not rocket science. If Arcade1up has the licenses, that's the big part, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of physically building these cabinets, and maybe they could come up with just something slightly different to where they wouldn't have to worry about any kind of infringement or whatever on ThinkUp. It wouldn't really take that much.
Oh no, they can basically blatantly copy out ThinkUp. ThinkUp owns the intellectual property, so they own like anything they took, but that doesn't mean they own like the fucking design itself. I mean, Arcade1up can do pretty much exactly the same thing with a new company. It's just if they don't have the original plans, they don't have the original plans.
Yeah, and they're required contractually to have the plans, so they do. Yeah. They should have them.
Yeah, so I mean, like all this is they'll be like, okay, ThinkUp, you don't want to do it. We're going to reach out to this company that does stuff for New Wave Toys. We're going to reach out to this company that does things for quarter arcades. We're going to reach out to this company that builds for Act Games and see if they'll do it for us. There's lots of options out there.
Well, I'm going to say what Arcade1up now has as a positive is a proven method, like a proven product that will sell. So they can go to somebody else and they can take a little bit of a risk.
Do they really?
Well, no, compared to 2017,
where
this was brand new territory. ThinkUp really got on the ground floor. They could have really, if they would have been a little more savvy with the writing down of the information type stuff, they would have been in such a good shape, I think, now, because they could have continued to put out different stuff.
I think the best thing Arcade1up can do is reach a settlement with ThinkUp and say, we're going to give you 3% of the proceeds from our banner Google ads on our website that show up on the weekends.
Maybe that's why they're there.
Tens of dollars. It's going to be great. Speaking of tens of dollars, it's a super chat. It's $10. It came to me from Jason Lillian, the best moderator in the biz. Congrats on 10K. Absolutely. Great person. Brother Fox, but this may not be ironclad. We'll talk later so you can get this super chat in writing. That's true. You can't cash that check until you sign it, date it, put it on.
You gotta have a hand job agreement with them.
I gotta have a hand job. You gotta absolutely have it. Thank you so much for super chat, buddy. Here you go.
Buddy, look at her.
Yeah.
I am cruising across the USA to see her.
I love games from the 90s. They're so awesome. That's so great.
Can you imagine what would happen today? Like a company came out with a game like that. Like they made a new cruising and put like women in bikinis in it.
Oh my God.
Gaming journalism would try to burn down the world.
They would lose their minds.
Stellar Blade is so bad
Stellar
because there's
Blade
a
is
butt
evil
ring.
because she has a body and she's shaped. I
What the
thought it was
fuck is
great.
wrong with people? Like, you know
I
what?
don't know.
Dudes like sexy women. Like, I'm
It's
sorry, we
we're
do.
simple. My
Yeah,
wife
we're
tells me every day,
simple
"You're
people.
so simple."
Like, if
I
a
am.
woman is in hockey gear and shows her boobs, I'm gonna watch.
It's the
Yeah.
greatest thing ever. All of a sudden, an American is in love with hockey. It's just
Yeah.
that simple. It couldn't be any simpler. The only thing that I think could be just a little bit simpler is entering to win one more thing from my store. And all you got to do is type in hashtag Arcade1up bad, or maybe think up bad. I don't know. But in this scenario, we're going to go with
I'm gonna say this again. Lots of companies make mistakes. I feel really bad for ThinkUp, but they
Yeah.
like this lawsuit they're putting up there makes them seem like such a dumb company. I just gotta say it.
I listen. I'm a technician. Obviously I'm a guy who works with his hands. I am sympathetic to their situation, but it's difficult to kind of be totally on their side whenever you see some just obvious blatant things that they should have done. It's pretty bad.
Hey man, we thought we were cool. Scott's a good dude, so we thought
He's
everything was fine.
He's good for it,
He's gonna take care of us. Scott, is that agreement all on the up and up? You're good,
he
buddy.
said, sure, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's
And
sad. It really is. But
Scott could have been fairly genuine, and he was ousted by the same people.
Well, we don't
ThinkUp,
know
right?
about that because if you look at the legal findings by ThinkUp, they actually say that he left.
Yeah, but that was likely
accord.
a forced resignation, right? CEOs typically
so-
don't get fired; they resign. As part
it's
of
it's
their
like if you try to
going
paint
away.
if you try to paint everybody in the best light. Let's say that this handshake agreement existed. Arcade1up now has more people, and the CFO gets involved, and they're like, "Hey, listen, ThinkUp, we need to kind of lock that down. What did you tell them?" "Oh, I told them they could have 30% forever." And they said, "What?
Yeah.
You can't do
Yeah.
that." And so it's like, well, we're trying to save money, we're trying to cut costs. We got disruptive in here, disrupting. It could have been something that now we've grown to a size where we got to legitimize this whole thing. And maybe Scott didn't want to have to go to them and sort of backtrack. I don't know. It sucks. I think it just overall, Mike, to your point, it sucks because at the end of the day, as a selfish consumer, we don't get new stuff. We don't get interesting stuff, different stuff.
So
nothing.
My overall sentiment here is like if someone from Arcade1up wrote me and said, "What do you think all these legal problems we got going on?" I'd respond with, "Yeah, I don't really give a shit about that. Are you going to make Afterburner?"
Yeah.
So is Robotron coming out or what? Yeah,
I don't care about this. Like, I wish it wasn't going on. I wish none of this stuff was going on for any of these companies. I wish iArcade. I wish Friday I would tune in Friday and it'd be Michael Zvebeck coming on and being like, "Hey guys, news! We got Escape from Popo too." Like,
no, I think you're 100% right. There was like a golden age, which wasn't that long ago, 2 years ago, let's say, where you had these companies out there and they're kind of thriving, and we're just kind of soaking it up. And every show we did was, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if they did this? Hey, wouldn't it be cool if they did that? Or wouldn't it be cool if these two companies are like fighting over this license? And wouldn't it be great if they both had them?" It was just an optimistic point of view.
But now, like, the truth of the matter is, right now, like, there is nothing good going on. Like, Arcade1up is trying to move forward. They've got people on the outs. They've created a real problem for themselves, reality, because, like, I mean,
True.
as much as, they might have reason to fire John, whatever, and stuff like that. I mean, you take John D out of the equation, and as much bad as what people think he does, he was such a big part of Arcade1up, and he did so much for them on the licensing side that they lost a lot of leverage, a lot of negotiating power once he left. And I mean, John's out there right now. If he is starting up a home arcade company or some kind of product company, which, we know he is, I mean, that's got to be tough because the waters for licensing are getting even more murky now because John's out there trying to negotiate his own deals. And he has all these relationships, which I'm sure that he's probably not making it easy for Arcade1up to continue. So, I mean, like, this is just a really fucking bad time.
James,
James,
remember,
what do you
he's
think
the guy
about
that
this?
finds loopholes, right? To
Yeah.
block other people and to take their their licenses, or not their licenses, but work around their licenses.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great if you had a bunch of healthy companies in good competition with each other, and they're trying to one up each other, no pun intended. And we, at the end of the day, as the consumer, we'd get more stuff.
Iron sharpens iron, but we're not in that place right now.
We're not even in the whole rising tides raise all ships. I think we're kind of in, it's pretty barren. It's kind of a wasteland. And you have the sort of anemic rats fighting over the last scrap of whatever. It's a damn shame because especially when you look at this filing, it points out some glaring flaws with both companies, really kind of paints ThinkUp in a negative light as I take that back. They were focused on the creative, which I think is where their focus should have been. They needed a CFO. They needed a lawyer. They needed someone who just cared about the paperwork side of things early on. And, like very early, like in the 90s.
I love this because this reminds me so much of my own job. Like I work with so many people that are great community people, like I have a community science background and like they really want to do everything for everybody. And I'm like an anomaly because I don't have that background. I'm in there with like a business background. They're like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, no, you're not. Here's the legal ramifications. Here's the contractual ramifications. Like, it seems like that was missed here. You had a lot of people with a lot of heart, a lot of ingenuity, and a lot of innovation, but just really bad business acumen, and they're getting bit in the ass for it.
Yep. Which is why we have the hashtag Arcade1up bad. Here's your last chance to type it into the chat real quick. We're going to do a drawing. 64 people have entered so far. And this is the last one, guys. Clicking the button now. Here we go. Who is the final winner? Arcade1up bad? Well, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Maybe it's everybody bad. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad situation overall. I think at the end of the day, the consumer loses, but Andy's Game Room wins. All right, here we go. Andy's Game Room is the winner, the final winner of the night. I'm going to write that down. Once again, all the winners.
Congratulations,
Congratulations. Andy's Game Room. You're going to Cancun if you pay for it. Everybody, all the winners tonight, once again, email me at 19kfox1. I know the one. 19kfox1@gmail.com. And then send me your YouTube handle, your name, address, and the thing that you want from my store. If it's a coffee cup, that's easy. But if it's a shirt, tell me the size, tell me the color, all that good stuff. Mike, James, let's start with James. James, final thoughts from what we've discussed tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I won't be surprised if this suit is tossed on summary judgment before it gets to discovery or anything. There's some big loopholes that ThinkUp agreed to in the contract that pretty much makes their suit from the get-go null and void. So I won't be surprised if that happens. The other thing that really shocks me is the sales numbers of Arcade1up are far higher than I would have ever imagined. I have that financial document, and so I wonder how true obviously they are having some sort of financial issues, but I wonder how deeply they truly are because they did massive sales numbers here. Massive. Like far more than I would ever have.
Mike, what do you think?
I think that 19K Fox, anybody who wants to get a shirt off 19K Fox's store is going to have to send Fox a picture of themselves shirtless because the shirt sizes are kind of all over the place. So even if you say you need an extra picture yourself shirtless so he can confirm.
None of that's necessary. You don't have to. Please don't do any of that.
And P-Dubs is giving away P-Dubs official socks. Same thing. Send him a picture of your feet so he can confirm your feet size and send you the appropriate stocks.
That's the most important part. Yeah, if you take away nothing else from the stream, send P-Dubs pictures of your feet.
What I think of this is all this sucks. I wish we weren't talking about a case between ThinkUp and Arcade1up.
Yeah.
I wish that we were talking about some new exciting cabs that we might be able to get into. Or something different. Like this gaming space has been way too negative like the past year. I get it. You're not getting what you want. They're not doing what you want and all that stuff. But the negativity at some point has got to go away. It's got to be something positive. And I think that won't happen until Arcade1up comes out with something new or a new company comes up. We need something to be excited about. We need to stop being let down. So give us something to be excited about. You've lost a lot of fans, obviously, with the end of the I don't know. I don't want to say the end of the pandemic because like COVID is still very much active, but the end of the shutdowns, like people,
The
you know, are
reaction
just
to it,
done
yeah.
with shutting it down. The reactions, people are out, they're spending money elsewhere. There's less interest in creating your home arcades. It's becoming a much more niche hobby like it was before. The people that actually collected arcades. So you're not going to attract a lot of new consumers. It's just not there. So, you know, do something for the people that are still around and do it quick before more people lose more interest.
And I think P-Dubs was saying no pics. He actually wants feet videos.
He wants actual feet.
Yeah.
Send him your actual feet. So if you could just
Even better.
maybe plastic feet, rubber feet, I don't know. Speaking of great things that are going to happen, maybe not from Arcade1up, but from the 19K Fox channel. If you're part of 19K Fox Nation, if you're a member of this channel, hang out right here. You're going to be redirected to the members only after show. These two guys are going to come hang out with us, and we're not talking about anything structured. It's whatever the hell we want.
No,
It's
we're going to talk
uncensored.
about, did you hear about this today? They are now figuring out how to attach living tissue onto AI controlled robots. This is not a joke. It was on IGN today.
Why is
these
Terminator
idiots,
the goal?
these
I don't
idiots.
understand. Have they seen the movie? Damn it, man.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about all that and much
This is
more.
the problem with the world right now. Its nostalgias are in power, and they didn't ever see Terminator 2. They grew up after that. They only saw Aladdin. They don't know the dangers of what they're doing.
We need to show them Terminator 2 right now. What the hell are they thinking? Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and getting me to 10,000 subs. Let's see if we can't keep this ball rolling for another 10,000 subs. Everybody,
it'd be a real nice thing, guys, if you could get to 19K Fox to 11,000 subs by 2030. Come on, guys, you can do it.
I think if we put our minds to it, if you're still alive, we can make this happen. Special thanks to Mike B. Special thanks to James, who is dissatisfied with most things, but doesn't hate everything. We're going to be hanging out in the after show. Members, stay right here. If you want to become a member, hit that join button down below. Guys, thank you so much. And everybody else, have a safe week. Don't work too hard. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday weekend. I'll see you all right back here next time. Peace.